Grab a Cuppa podcast with Cat Wright.
Oh, thank you so much, Anna, Hannah, and Julia. Here we go.
Yeah, nice to meet you.
I thought I was gonna mess that up.
Skillfully done. Skillfully done.
I've only started doing this starting lockdown.
Okay.
And I was one of those people that, well, I'm still incredibly shy, but I just thought when it came to like lockdown, do you know what? I have nothing better to do, so I'm just going to like do what everyone else started doing and do a podcast. That's such like a thing to do when you're mid-30s. Like, what have I not tried before?
That's really nice.
That's brilliant. Yeah, it's
and
a great
we're
thing
all
to
shy
do.
as well, so that's
Yeah. Found each other.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know if you were like this when we were younger, but I've been surrounded by alternative and rock metal music all my life. And when I was a teen, I was like, oh, I really wanted to be in the girl band, especially when it was like when you would see bands like Kitty. Yeah, the new metal bands, Kitty and stuff like that. Was it like for you, like growing up, or did you always want it to be like, I don't like really call it a girl band, but in a band?
For me, it never crossed my mind, actually. Like, for me, it was just about, like, I love this instrument and I'm just existing in this world. But I think then, like, the older you get and the more experience you have of the industry, then you feel more the need of people like you know, that have kind of gone through the same process as you in music. Because I think, like, when I was a kid, I was just like, oh my God, all I want to do all day is just play this instrument and, like, just do that for the love of music. But I think definitely
I think it depends who you meet as well. Yeah, I remember when I was like my first band, and I was like 13 or 14 or something, but it was literally just like my friends who were two other girls, but I played guitar, and I was like, Lindsay, just learn the drums, God. and just get
God damn it, Lindsay.
Yeah, like just you know, just learn it, because you know you want to be in a band with people you get on with, and you know, yeah.
Sadly, I was never coordinated to do anything like that. Sadly for me, I tried everything and nothing. It wasn't meant to be for me. What were you saying, Julia? Sorry.
Well, you know, it depends. I was saying I'm quite jealous because I started quite late, so I kind of missed that dreamy teenage part of, you know, picking up an instrument, being in a band with your mates. There was none of that. I mean, I grew up in the middle of nowhere, so that's probably why. So being a musician is not encouraged. You know, in this country, it seems like when you study music in school, they give you a proper instrument. And in my case, they gave us like fucking plastic recorders or something.
Right.
You can't be in a band with a recorder. So
where did you grow up, Julia, if you don't mind me asking?
It's Italy, but it's not mainland. It's like Sardinia, which is an island in the middle of the
I'm asking because I was born in Portugal, and I was there from when I was born, and then until I moved to the UK when I was 17. So I get what you mean. Growing up in Portugal, you don't really have access to guitars or drums or not even a freaking keyboard. It was like, here, have this plastic thing that sounds horrid. Yeah, it sounds absolutely dreadful, and learn this, and then that's it. Like, we didn't have access to anything else, so I know exactly what you mean.
I think the arts are taken less seriously as well. Like, I grew up in Greece, and it was the same. Like, at my school, they didn't take music seriously at all. Like, me and my best friend were the two loners that, like, had to find some corner of the school to practice in, because there was, like, no accessibility there and no, like, embracing of the arts. And I don't know if you guys had this, but like also with your families, and like what it was like when you decided to be a musician, and then it's like
Grab a Cuppa podcast with Cat Wright.
I think, especially with like parents, guardians, carers, whoever, at the time, especially I grew up late 80s, early 90s, that sort of thing, and when I was being aware of music. And I started listening to rock music from Queen and Iron Maiden, so my taste in music grew from there. And our parents start seeing the behavior of rock stars, and they're like, oh no, I really don't want my child to behave like that. So when you say to a parent, oh, I really want to be a musician, they're like, no, they think about, you know, the drug, sex and rock and roll lifestyle. It's just like, no, I'm scared of that. No, I don't want you doing that. But now it's just different. Is so much different. As a parent, if my daughter says, oh, you know, I want to start a rock band, I'd say go for it, but you know, I can't teach you any instruments, sadly.
Yeah, I feel like parents don't, I mean, at least when we grew up, like parents didn't talk enough about the catharsis of being in a rock band and how healing it is to be in a rock band. You know, it's just, they just look at the dark side of it and think it's going to be all sex, drugs and rock and roll, but just the pure expression of it and the intensity of it.
Yeah.
And the admin of it, you know, there's just a lot that
there's a lot that goes behind the scenes that people don't realize.
Just to balance it out,
Just to balance it out, there's you know, if you really want to put kids off it, there's a lot of admin.
It's true. It's true.
There's a gender element to it as well, in the sense that when you're a girl and you want to be in a band, depending on what instrument you want to play as well, people might tell you, oh, that's not very girly. Do you want to learn the bass? Why would you want to learn the bass? Take piano lessons. Play the violin. That's not girly.
Something more classy.
Yeah, it's not very girly or feminine. But again, that's cultural. It really depends on your family, your surroundings. It depends on so many things. But yeah, it was an added sort of obstacle that didn't make it very easy to decide. Oh yeah, I'm gonna pick up this instrument and I want to play rock music and metal, and I don't want to be one of the Spice Girls. You know, I want to be in a cool band.
That was a big thing in the 90s. I remember all of my friends at the time, especially the girls, they all wanted to be in Spice Girls, All Saints, and to be honest, I wanted to form a band with Courtney Love. You should have me. That was my thing at the time, you know, the grunge, and I wanted to just be a part of that scene so badly that I didn't dare tell anyone that that was my preference, because that would get frowned upon. The whole connotations and, oh, you know, you're female in a rock band, you're a groupie, you're not really a part of blah blah blah. You get the idea. Being so sexualized, and it's just like, yeah, I didn't dare tell anyone that I wanted to be. I'd rather be in a metal or grunge band than be in the, you know, in the wannabe Spice Girls. Respect to the Spice Girls, but not really my thing.
Yeah.
I mean, I love the Spice Girls, but
would you want to be in the Spice Girls though?
Wouldn't want to be in them though. Yeah.
No
Can't quite see it, to be honest. But yeah.
I loved what they stood for. I mean, you know, they'll all get a girl power and be together and supporting each other, blah, 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 all that stuff. Yes. But the music, no, not for me, sadly. Not for me, no. But as a band now, going back to 2022, you've only started just like around 2019, am I correct? Like when you started properly?
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah. How did you all meet each other? Did you have like mutual friends prior forming in a band, or you knew each other? How did that come about?
No, we love telling this story.
Yeah. You tell it or I tell it?
Shall I tell it?
Oh my
god. But no, this was in sort of end of 2018, I think it was. Like, I had just moved back to London and was looking to form a band and just wanted to get the chops up and kind of start practicing. So I used to go to this studio called Alaska Studios, which was in Waterloo, and Hannah worked there. And so then and when I used to visit, I used to see Hannah, like, apart from, you know, engineering and doing all the jobs there, like also she'd be playing all these different instruments like piano and drums, and everything, and so I was very intrigued. And so then when it came to finding band members, she was the first person I contacted. Like, yeah. It's crazy that, isn't it? Because after you, like, there were so many people that came in and went, and like it was really hard actually to find the right members, especially for an all-female band. But yeah, so then we jammed, and yeah, it just made such sense.
The magic.
Yeah, that first jam was just like, oh,
Yeah.
I get it. It's so good.
And
That
I was
sounds
looking for
lovely.
a keys player as well at the time, but then Hannah brought the
Well,
guitar.
that's what we did. Like yeah. So you sent me the demos, and I learnt them on keys. And then there's another song. I can't remember whether you sent me this song or whether you just played it in
Yeah.
rehearsal. And I was like, I can't hear keys on this, but there's a guitar in reception. Then we go get the guitar, and then then we just like started jamming with the guitars. And I was like, no, this though.
Yeah. It's I think it's so rare that like from the first moment you meet another musician that it's like, so what you're thinking and what I'm thinking, they're connecting and they're working very well. It's just it was just really magical. And then so yeah, we kind of started Hawxx from that point really, and so then it was like, right, we need to find a bass player, need to find a drummer, and I was doing this really tough gig in Soho at the time, like this all-night function gig that was really underpaid, and hated the songs, and Jess
Oh no.
was playing drums on that same in that same function band, and so we just bonded over our despair at how bad the gig was, but also like we're a fan of each other's playing.
Oh.
And yeah, so then she came and auditioned for the band, and that worked out perfectly. And Julia joined our lineup pretty recently, although it doesn't feel like it. It's just, that's also just another thing. That's why it's so cool that none of us knew each other or had any mutual friends, because
I like that.
yeah, all four of us just like, it makes sense.
Just bring new ideas, and it's just nice that you find that person, because it is a relationship at the end of the day,
a marriage really.
It's
It really is.
Four-way marriage.
Yeah.
You spend a lot of time with your bandmates, especially when you're on tour. And how was like your first gig as Hawxx? Like, that was it. We've got our lineup. This sounding amazing. Got a gig booked. How was that like?
The first gig?
Yes.
The first ever gig? Wow.
Well, first ever gig, yeah.
That was Nambuka.
Was that Nambuka?
With a different drummer and a different bass player.
Yeah.
Okay.
I feel like the first time that we actually tested this most recent lineup was with a tour, wasn't it? For the EP launch.
EP Black Heart.
Yeah.
Black Heart
That
in
was
April.
a great gig.
That was
a great gig. That was a crazy gig. Everyone was just like, we were just on a high, just so excited to play. And then it was Friday night, and the audience were just so up for it, and you just like we just walked
singing
in the room.
Words, it was
wow.
like, I guess the first gig as the four of us as this lineup is drastically different to the first.
Yeah. I want that to be my first memory.
Do you know what? It's just like no one started being absolutely incredible. You start from somewhere, and then you find your groove, and then what works, what doesn't, and then just take things from there, don't you? And like with anything in this life, to be honest.
Yeah, you're evolving basically, so
it's
always just growing together as well. But it really is interesting that when you gig together for the first time, when you go on tour for the first time, which we did at the end of June, we went on tour with Tremonti. That's a huge test. You just put 4 people in a van together for several hours. And you get them in it's a really emotional place playing a gig. There's so much involved. I mean, so much for everyone. Sometimes there are technical issues. Sometimes, some unexpected element appears. And if you don't have really good chemistry, you're going to find out pretty soon. And so the fact that we just clicked and it works so well, it really feels magical. It's pretty amazing. And that's why, writing and doing things together as a band, it's just a pleasure. We want to put the work in. We want to work together as a unit. It's fantastic.
it's really good when it feels like love rather than a chore.
Yeah.
You know, it feels you just doing what you love and just having fun, and that's the whole thing. And talking about having fun, you guys have had a really busy summer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's been very, very busy. You've been here, there, and everywhere. And also, let me touch upon, like, I need to say this. Going on tour with Tremonti. You played with Tremonti. Okay. Oh my God, I love Tremonti. He's the sweetest person in metal. You know what I mean? Rock and metal. And him releasing that, like, was it like a jazz EP or something like that?
Frank Sinatra.
Was it something really, really different? I loved it. I'm not really a fan of the genre, but I loved it. So how is it like for you doing this? Like, especially on not being a band for a very long, not a long time. How did that feel like?
It was a real honor. Like,
yeah.
It was I mean, we had about a month to prepare for it, and so I think all of us were like, okay, shit.
Yeah.
We need to step it up. Like, we need to get new gear, we need to have in-ear monitors, like, because up until now our setup has been very like rough and ready. We just kind of go on stage and we just play, but this forced us to be more professional, I guess, and be really ready for playing with such a massive artist, and also the stages that we got to play and the crowds we got to play to, the cities that we'd never been in before. And we were welcomed so warmly. Like, Tremonti were, all of them, their whole crew, like, they were such lovely guys and so genuine and really made us feel at home. And it was the best experience. Like, I think we all really cherished that time.
It was so much fun. Yeah, the Tremonti community in general. So yeah, the band and the crew are obviously amazing and just top of their game and super welcoming. So it's just like tick, 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 everyone's lovely and amazing. But the fans are so cool. And they all turned up for like the support band. I've been to gigs and no one's there for the support. Like, it's normal. We were kind of half expecting that, but everyone was just so on it, and yeah, just really, really welcoming across the board. It was really lovely.
And to be like a genuine fan of the artist that you're supporting as well. So I can't remember how many dates we did with them, but I think it was like 2 weeks or something. Yeah. And every night
incredible.
We would go into the mosh pit and like really live their set, and it was never tiring. Like, to finish playing your own show and then to go and mosh to Tremonti was just the best sequence of events. Like, we were just so happy the whole time.
There's like an old Portuguese saying, something along the lines of, if you are running for the love of running, you will never get tired. So it's, you love what you're doing, so you're not going to get tired of doing so, it's always, it's true, it really is. And done all that stuff with Tremonti. And which other artists would you like to collaborate one day? It was on your list. Either a tour, it could be a tour, it could be like a song, maybe.
Oh, yeah. I mean, we all do love Nova Twins.
They are awesome.
Yeah, we really love them. Cool. And Architects.
Yes.
And also Petrol Girls. In terms of like ethos and power and energy, we were playing their latest record in the van the other day, and like I find them incredibly inspiring as a band, and yeah, I think like they would be amazing to work with as well, but they're at smaller scale, I guess.
Still, I don't think it matters. You know what I mean? When you like a band, doesn't matter if they have 1 million fans or 1,000 or even less. And that's what I see. The first time that I saw you play, which I only caught the tail end of your set, and I was very, very upset, was at Bloodstock.
Oh, no way. Okay.
It was honestly like, I sadly got coronavirus, and I think I was feeling very poorly around the festival, and I didn't know what it was because I'd had COVID previously, and I'd always like done the tests. I did tests every day, and it was negative, and I'm like, why do I feel so rough? And got home on the Monday or Tuesday, whatever it was, done a test, positive, and I was just like, God damn it. I knew I was so poorly. But yeah, so so I only caught you like at the tail end of your set. I was very, very upset, but hey ho. I'm sure I'll catch you another time. But was that your first festival, like big festival?
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, it's the biggest crowd.
Yeah.
We'd done a couple of festivals, but that was like, the proper big tent crowd experience. And also it was our first gig out for like 9 months? Because obviously there was COVID. It like we hadn't played for absolutely ages. I can't remember.
It's a lot
it was like
bands.
9 or 10 months or something. So we were all just like, oh my God, we can't really I was so anxious that whole week leading up to it, being like, what if this happens? What if that happens?
Same.
And just being around that many people again, like it was like to get back in that headspace. It was like it was a lot. It was very intense.
Yeah.
But then when we just got out on stage, we were just like, oh yeah, I remember. This is fun.
It's like riding a bike, isn't it? It's like riding a bike. You get used to it. You get the groove. You get in the groove and a taste for doing so, and then it's just like you don't want anything else. It's the way forward.
Yeah. Honestly, the come down post tour or festival or everything is just, I still don't know how to cope with it, really.
The festival blues are for real, honestly. Festival blues are awful, as performing, working, or just going, as a punter. It is just like the Monday and the Tuesday you're home, is just like, oh, I want to go back to that dirty field again.
Yeah, I guess also like the oxytocin from a mosh pit.
Oh my God.
All this touch and like, it just feels amazing. And then you go home and it's like, no.
Also, you just come back with sorry.
Go on.
I was just gonna say, like, you go away for like 2 days, 3 days, and you come back with like 700,000 stories, and you're just like, oh my God, and then this happened, and then this happened. It's just like so much happens in those days that
For me, it's like, in the supermarket, if anyone touches me, I'm like, what you doing?
In
a mosh pit, I'm like, come on, yes, let's go.
Destroy me.
Yes. Because at Bloodstock, you got that set because you won the Metal to the Masses London, because that's where you're mainly based at that year. So that was very good indeed, because like there's all these regional bands, there's so many that apply, so many that do not succeed, and you guys did and played and had a hell of a time, and that was really good for your career as well, because so many people that went to got recommended by their friends and peers and went to see you came back and just like, do you know what, I'm going to buy their album, I'm going to buy their stuff. People that spoke to me about it as well, and me being like, I'm really jealous that you got to see the full set and I didn't. So that is pretty good, isn't it? Wouldn't you say so?
Yeah. I mean, that was a special one for us, for sure. Yeah.
Oh.
That Metal to the Masses gig as well. Oh my God. Like, we were in pieces before that. I think I must have been... God. I was horrifically hungover. Like, I'd thrown a party at my place like the night before, and I was like, I'll be responsible, I won't drink. But then, of course, you know how it goes.
Yes.
And then Jess had some kind of stomach bug and was throwing up right.
Yeah, she was genuinely just ill with something. I mean, there's a photo.
I'm not meant to laugh, I'm sorry.
Oh no!
It worked out in the end.
It was so ridiculous. You kind of had to laugh, like because in the venue there were like these kind of booths. There was no like green room or anything, so it's just booths. And then I felt all right, and I was like really up for the gig. And then you could just see like my bandmates, like it was like a war field, and just like strewn across his booth, like passed out. I'm like, right, I mean, we're on in half an hour, so I'm going to know how we're gonna do this.
Yeah.
But everyone rallied, like how you guys did it. Like Jess especially, she looked awful.
I mean,
she was like properly ill, and to play and then you fronting it, being that hungover. I've played hungover and it's absolutely horrendous. I just never want to do it again. Like, oh God.
I think you enter this delirium state, like I think I sweated it all out in that gig. Like it just was all coming out in bucket loads. I think that's probably how it coped.
If you can do it and win, you can take over the world.
There you go.
Right, you are. Yes.
See, you can take over the world. That's really cool. Now, work-wise, you've released, your first EP in 2020. Deadlands did really well. Did really, really well indeed. Were you well, obviously you're always not expecting to do well. You're hoping to do well. However, how did you deal with it doing so well? Was it a bit overwhelming?
It just went to our heads. And
we're an absolute nightmare now.
We're on a massive power trip still from that time.
We didn't see that much of it, right? Yeah, because that was released during lockdown. So it was all the kind of, we've got it ready to go, when should we release it? And we were working with someone then who's given us a bit of advice, and they were like, I don't know. I'm like, cool.
No one knew what the fuck was going on during that time.
No one knew. We were like, do you know? Oh, you don't know either. Oh God, no. So we just bit the bullet and released it in the end. And luckily it did go down well. But it was just, the whole time was just crazy, and you didn't really see anyone. So
no. I mean, actually, I created this really nerdy folder with plastic wallets of all the press that we got of Deadlands, because we did get some pretty good press.
Yeah, we did.
Metal Hammer and Classic Rock and Rock Sound and yeah.
We won Track of the Week. Yeah, like Classic Rock Track of the Week, didn't we? That kind of thing. So that was
cool. The hot list of 2020.
Yeah. We did get good stuff.
We did all right.
No, that's really good though. And then I think 2020. I like to call it the blip, because that's what it was for me. It was just sort of like, because everything stopped, and but I think when it comes to music, people needed music more than ever to cope. So I think it was a really good thing to actually release brand new music in 2020, because people just needed, because people were like watching TV and listening to music more than ever because they had more time. And I know it's a pandemic and this and that and the other, but I think you have to think about the positive side of it in a way. I know COVID sucks, it was crap, but you take a bad situation and just find the positives in it somewhat. And I thought it was really good to actually release new music and release new stuff in 2020. That's why I started doing this, because I thought, what the heck, let's go and do it and see what happens. We're on season 2 now, so it didn't go too badly, I guess.
Nice. Awesome.
But yeah, I mean, and now let's just go back to let's just come to now. You've done all this stuff. These past 2 years have been really busy, really good for you. You just you released your latest one. You're only as loud as you shout right now. I had to train how to say that, because I don't know. Like, for me, my first language is Portuguese, so I have to think about everything that I'm saying and try to translate it. So it's very difficult sometimes. Anywho, it's doing pretty well as well. Like, you're on fire.
Oh, thanks.
Absolutely on fire. Are you what are you going to do right now? Are you going to promote it? Are you going to take a break? Are you going to write more stuff? What's happening now?
Albums now. We don't really leave any time for breaks. It's like, we'll already be recording the next thing when we're releasing something else, So at the moment we're fundraising to record our debut album, which feels like the right time. And so I think now is going to be a period of like the odd gig here and there, and writing mainly.
Writing tomorrow.
We're writing tomorrow.
Oh, that's so cool.
I'll have the pizzas out ready for writing.
Nice.
Hannah's head of snacks.
I'm head of snacks.
Oh yeah, do you just gather around, get some snacks, get some ideas flowing, and write some stuff?
Yeah, exactly. You
Snacks
can't write on an empty stomach.
Like, they are very, very important. Oh my God, like, as a side note, but food is so important in this band. And the other day we were driving to Burn It Down Festival, which turned out to be on the other end of the world, like Turkey, you know, and we
I
thought we'd be
know.
able to make it like no problem, but it took 6 hours, and so we thought we were going to miss the festival slot. So we were like, okay, there's no time to stop for food, so we had to kind of find what we had in the van to eat, and so we had bread and oil and salt and chutney.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
And we made these oil sandwiches or chutney sandwiches.
So everyone could choose the combination. It was like the worst Subway in the world, basically. Like, would you like butter or oil?
Yeah.
Or both. We have both.
Yeah.
The bread was like 1 million years old as well.
Oh
It was like 5p on clearance.
Yeah, exactly.
There's
It
nothing
wasn't moldy.
worse.
It was fine.
Nothing worse than stale bread though. Oh, just thinking
It was
about it.
alright, to be fair. It's just inexplicable, because you look at it and you think, how can this be more than a week old and on clearance, and we're eating it and we're not, and it tastes alright? Like, is bread real? This is not real bread. It's
It's not real bread.
Yeah.
No, like quite recently you got endorsed by Jackson. That is super cool. And I have a question from a friend of mine, Tim. He's a big fan of the band, and he's asked me to ask you. So you've been presented with a new guitar, obviously based for Julia. Have you given their new instruments names? That's all he wants to know.
I'm not a namer. I'm not a namer of
I
things.
don't do that, no.
My sister does it to everything. She names like the car. She everything has got, her plant has got a name. Like everything's got a name, and I'm just the exact opposite. So I call my old guitar my good boy, and this one is my pointy boy. That's as far as I'm going with my name.
I actually love that.
I don't know what my third guitar would be.
But your Blade is such a good boy.
He's a good boy. He's such a good boy.
He is so obedient with few things.
Absolutely adorable.
You know?
It's a pointy boy.
Yeah. I tried to find a name. I haven't set on one. Someone said I should name it Clements, and I just thought that's quite intense.
I like that.
But there's something kind of sophisticated about it. Then there was a lot of like, oh, you should call it Michael.
No.
But I'm not gonna do that. I quite like the idea of giving it a name like, you know, Dave or
something
Gary.
Basic. Not basic, but
just, you know, a traditional name.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm undecided. Sorry to not give a good response.
It's okay.
I mean, it's hard because there are so many great names. You don't want to like give it one and then, oh shit, something better comes along.
That's it. Yeah. I mean, I don't know how people name their children.
No.
It's very difficult.
One more reason not to have any.
I have two. I have two of those. I have two of those children. And my daughter's called Alice because of Alice in Wonderland, but not the Disneyfied version. Is more the original story. So the original story is Alice was a warrior and she was very curious about everything. So when she was born, she just opened her eyes, and her eyes are like big like mine, and she just opened her eyes, and it was like she was just so curious about where am I and what's happening, and she wanted to like touch everything even as a newborn. So it was appropriate. And my son is called Logan because me and my husband, we are geeks. So it was with Wolverine from,
sure.
from the X-Men. And because sadly when my son was born, he was very, very ill. However, he healed really quickly. Within 24 hours, it was absolutely fine. And he was going to get discharged before me because I got poorly as well. So he healed so quickly, like the Wolverine from X-Men. So there you go. That's how me and my husband picked the names of our kids. They mean something to us. And, it's kind of related to them and that sort of thing. And
that's cool. You didn't have them like pre-prepared then. You just like, this is the story and this is like.
It was just more of like, we liked those names. We just thought when they're born, we'll see what, if they look like an Alice and a Logan, perhaps. And they could have been called something else if we thought it was appropriate. But yeah, that's just how it happened. It's just how life happens sometimes, and yeah, it was perfect, I guess.
Oh, that was brilliant.
I name all my, most of the things I have, even my, my car, because it's green, so it's called Emerald. But I'm struggling. You see this little guy here?
Yeah.
Oh.
He is, so he's one of those reversible like teddies, so he's very happy with the pride colors and stuff like that. And then on the other side is very blue with a very frowny face. But I don't know, like I call him frowny face when he's blue sometimes. But I'm still struggling to find a name for this little guy.
Oh.
So I've been thinking about it, and I don't know something rainbowy. But then if I call it rainbowy, then it might sound weird. So yeah, at home we are neurodivergent, autism. Both of my kids have autism, and I have dyslexia, and so we're all like somewhat neurodivergent. So we have lots of these fluffy things around the house because it's good for like when you need that sensory aspect of objects and.
Right, cool.
Yeah, I just spent like 5 minutes talking about myself.
It's great.
I've been honestly like forever. I've been wanting to talk to you about music and everything else, and to see what where you're up to, and I love that we in the rock and metal community we are having more and more all-female bands. More and more, and I'm loving this. I want to push this forward. I want to promote as many as I can and talk to as many as I can, especially people, bands and artists from the LGBTQIA plus community, and all the queers, the gays and the days is what we're aiming for as well. So get all that good stuff out there.
Yeah.
It's been lovely to speak to you.
Yeah, likewise.
Hopefully in the few months we can catch up. If when you've got anything, just let me know when you've got something new and promote it. If you've got like any ideas, like anything, I want to hear about you all the time. So
sure. Yeah.
You're like my new favorite band.
Oh,
thank you.
Thank you.
Keep doing all the good things that you're doing. And
lovely to meet you.
Yeah.
Thank you
again.
so much.
Grab a Cuppa podcast with Cat Wright.